Let's cross to London now and catch up on the latest with the coronation. I'm joined by Michael Cole, who's a former BBC royal correspondent there, looking resplendent outside Buckingham Palace. Thanks for talking to us, Michael. Lots of excitement starting to build in London, no doubt, but Prince Harry, he's just going to pop in for the perfunctory visit, apparently, and shoot home straight afterwards.
You're absolutely right, Chris, and good evening from Buckingham Palace, where they've just been changing the guard down at Buckingham Palace. And as you say, we're in the midst of great events. These are tremendous days, and we're getting very excited, but being British, we're holding it down to a dull roar. You know, there have been more solar eclipses in the last 200 years than there have been coronations. There's only been 7 of them, and the last one was 70 years ago. Now, you're looking at somebody very rare, because I was around then. I was 10 years old, and I can remember it all vividly, with the handsome, suntanned Australian troops in their bush hats around the streets of London, mingling with the Mounties in their red tunics. It was a very exciting time, and it's getting exciting now. And as you say, stories keep popping up, as they always will in our business. And by the way, when you think about 1953, one of my favourite ever films is an Australian film called Newsfront, financed by the South Australia Film Board. And that has a wonderful vignette of what happened in '53 when Everest was conquered by Edmund Hillary and Tenzing Norgay, and also the coronation happened. It's a key scene in that fabulous film, and I remember it all terribly well. Of course, these days, you mention slight diversions. Prince Harry, he's coming back. I think the big question there, Chris, is where Harry is going to sit and who's going to sit next to him, because not many members of the royal family are actually on speaking terms with him at the moment, in the light of his biography, which is called Spare, and all the other things that they've said. Apparently, he's coming in, he'll go to the Abbey. I think he'll probably, and this is a good guess for you and Sky Australia, he'll probably have on either side of him the Princesses Eugenie and Beatrice, the daughters of Prince Andrew, because it was Eugenie who introduced him to Meghan Markle all those years ago. It seems a long time now. And, of course, those two princesses know what it's like to live with a royal pariah. Their mother, Sarah Ferguson, was out for a long time. And Prince Andrew, he carries around with him his own little black cloud. So they know what it's like to be on the outside looking in. But these are tremendous days ahead.
With Harry, Michael, with Harry, won't the other royals might need to be a bit careful with Harry. He might be picking up new material for his next book. Tell us though that there's a new bit in this in the coronation service asking everybody to pledge allegiance to the King, and people are expected to do so vocally in pubs around England, and if they're lucky, a few pubs back in Australia. Do you think this might be a bit of overreach? I don't think they're going to get too many takers, are they?
Well, it all depends. There's no ordering about it. We are a free country, as you are gloriously free. It's an invitation, and actually it's an attempt, and I think it's quite a well-meant attempt, by the King to make it more inclusive. He's been very inclusive, and he's been very ecumenical. He's got to involve all the major religions of the world, because it's a very diverse society we have here, as indeed you do have in your major cities out there. So he wants people to be... but there's no injunction. Nobody has to do it. But a lot of people, not the metropolitan elite, not the sneerers, but, you know, people at home may want to pledge allegiance.
That's what they do indeed.
In every American classroom every morning. They pledge allegiance to the flag, as we well know. But going back to Harry, as you say, other members of the royal family think he might be writing down what they say for his next book, so they might be a little bit wary. But you know something? Let me just tell you, Chris, he's going back to California because it's his son's 4th birthday, Prince Archie.
Yeah, that is always a fair excuse.
You know, let me just tell you, May the 6th is a huge day of destiny. Because on May the 6th, 1910, King Edward VII, who was the great-great-grandfather of King Charles, died. And just before he died, his mistress-in-chief, Mrs. Keppel, was allowed in by the Queen, Alexandra, to see him on his deathbed. Now, let me just tell you, on Coronation Day...
You're right. Thanks, Michael.
The great-great-granddaughter of Mrs. Keppel was Camilla Shand, and she is going to be crowned Queen. So there you are. You could not make it up.
You could not make it up.
That night...
We better leave you there, Michael. Thank you very much. Sorry to rush you. Got to get to a break. Michael Cole, the royal correspondent at Buckingham Palace.